Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Hole in the World, an actual play of the Invisible Sun RPG by Monty Cook Games. I am, as always, your GM, Great Zamino, otherwise known as Zach. I use he, him pronouns, and I am, as always, joined by my four fantastic, wonderful cast members. And let's go ahead and hear from them, starting with Marcy.
Hey everyone, I'm Marcy, aka Experimental Madness, and that's the name you can find me most places around the internet, except for Twitter, where I remain the resident cryptid. But technically, you can find me there under the username Marciful. And it's another Sunday, and I'm back playing Gavriel, the iconoclastic ardent apostate who hosts a choir.
Excellent. Moving down the overlay, Bill, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, I'm Bill. You can find me on Discord. I am Ghost Bike over there. And I'm playing Maurice, the stalwart empath of the Order of Weavers who turns tales into reality. And one day I won't have to crib off my character sheet.
Excellent. Going over to the other side, Twig, or pardon me, not Twig, Hopper, if you would like to introduce yourself.
You know what? Wouldn't it be? Let's get real weird with it. No. What's up? I'm Hopper. Sup fuckers. I use they, them pronouns. And if you want my bad hot takes, general shenanigans, you can follow me under Fail Deadly. That is with a 3 instead of an E. Or you can follow me under the Legend Tree for actual content. And
did you say hot takes or hop takes?
Yes. Under the Legend Tree for actual content and things that aren't just bad hopped takes. That's right. I said both at once. Fuck you. And tonight I will be playing Twigg, the mendicant gallant apostate who heralds beginnings.
There we go. And last but not least, Marissa, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marissa, she, her pronouns, also known as Critical Kitten with various punctuation here and there on the internet. And I play Kyrrie von Hollingsworth, the first assistant librarian of the Order of the Vamps. She is an Aromatic Stoic who understands the words, guardian of Zaleska's grimoire, curator of King Nine's library, and speaker to Ancient Juggernauts most recently.
Excellent. So, guys, a lot has happened. I always say that every episode, and it's never, ever not true. But before we go ahead and get started, let me go ahead and put on some very familiar music, and we will discuss exactly what has occurred. All right, let me see if I can on this computer. Okay, so when last we saw our vislae, Maurice was in the process of receiving a boon from Queen Frageliva after triumphing with Gavriel, Kyrrie, and Twigg against the Vespertine agents. Resisting the pull of the hatred aggregate, the Weaver accepted the Queen's boon, healing his arm and restoring a memory of his mother to his psyche. Only a few moments later, Twigg used their powers of awakening to endow Maurice's thought form pet Duncan with life and sapience. After a bit of awkward acclamation, Kyrrie followed this act with a request of the true name of Queen Frageliva's consort, who gave their life in service of their queen, and in so doing inspired the creation of God's tulips on the foot of the Silver Mountain. For her own boon, Gavriel requested that the vislae receive mental shielding against the mind control powers of the Vespertine. With this final request, the vislae retired briefly before seeing to the interrogation of the surviving Vespertine agent Stratha. With a clever trick of spellcraft, Gavriel was able to extract the vital information from the agent, learning of a kidnapping plot, a mobile headquarters in the Forest of Elegant Measures, and the purpose of the Vespertine's mission in Silver, before turning their attention to Secretin, the Ostiary, another entity imprisoned by Queen Frageliva's angels. Secretin revealed to the vislae the nature of his creation by the Aurustam and his purpose, to guard and defend the city on the hill. In so doing, Kyrrie and Twigg learned of Secretin's affection for the people who visited the city and his love for Gallia Manatis, a frequent visitor to the city who had been missing for the last week. Secretin also revealed to Twigg their prior acquaintance and that the vislae used to wear a different form in their previous visits to the city on the hill. After departing the dungeon with this information, The vislae witnessed the Queen Frageliva's own interrogation of the Vespertine agent, as well as the agent's subsequent execution by disintegration. So, with all of this having transpired, we now return to the hole in the world. So, I'm going to change the music one more time. But as I do that, what is everybody getting up to, having witnessed the justice of Queen Frageliva herself visited upon Strafa?
I feel like I need a smoke break because that was real good for me. How's that?
Yeah, that feels appropriate. Yeah. So, aside from exuberance at watching the annihilation of this terrifying, not terrifying, but this nihilistic maniac, I would say terrified is more appropriate. What are you guys getting up to?
Well, I'm off to bully the queen. And by bully, I mean ask very politely.
I was gonna say that might be your preferred path there. So I will tell you that.
Have I ever done anything smart?
Well, I will go ahead and tell you this. You are in the throne room. You have just witnessed this. I think this will give a little bit more context. I think she has sat back on the throne. Are you trying to get a private audience? What would you like to do? Are you going to kind of do this in front of the subjects of her court and your friends? What are you going to do?
Well, I don't know about the deal that Okris made. Twigg does not know about that deal, so I think Twigg is gonna, I think, a little bit more aggressively than they've been acting a lot lately. Like, they've been pretty tired, in pain, and or confused for a while now, and I think this is like kind of a finally something to focus on, like the information that Secretan, that Twigg had been there before in the company of somebody that Secretan thought sounded menacing, and that they had been there to work for the Angels. And Twigg wants to know what the fuck. Pardon my angelic.
How would you like to... I will tell you this. You still have a boon to ask of the queen if you would like it. My question is, like, yeah, she is sat down. She's 40 feet tall. She's very imperious looking. How are you doing this?
I think Twigg is going to roll right up.
The gaze, that silver light, it just, after having just evaporated this wizard Nazi.
I think we see this. Yeah, this. Fucked if I. Oh, I gotta refamiliar. You know, relatively short, slender, scrappy figure with bright red hair, bright green hair. That's right. That's an Okris problem. Bright green hair and these pink red eyes, striding straight, I think, down whatever the corridor, like if there is like an area that is typically kept clear, and I think probably right through any sort of ashes or dust that remains of said wizard. Rolls right on through there.
Yeah, I think that, you just feel like a few of the like cinders off of this form just kind of like coalesce a little bit and like just fall on I think the shoulders of your jacket. Before even them, they just kind of disappear and fragment into nothing. And so you kind of approach, and the queen turns her gaze to look at you expectantly, and it is a piercing gaze. What do you say?
Sorry to interrupt your majesty, but I know what I seek as a boon.
Then you only need but name it. If it is within my power, I may grant it.
I seek information, not just the location of my heart, but maybe something that might be best spoken of privately.
She, I think, turns her attention to all of the court. All of your friends, not only them, but also Gavriel's parents, Acarian, the guide, all of her angels, these guards that have kind of aggregated. And you see there's also by her right side, like some distance away, having like witnessed all of this, a large like floating ball of light that also has eagle's wings protruding from it. And to this, she turns and says,
Yezomael, clear this throne room.
And Yezomael, this kind of like effulging globe, in a similar voice says,
Yes, my queen. And
slowly but surely, all of the angels filter out, very gently accompanying all of the people that have accompanied you. Let me ask, is everybody kind of cool with this? Do you guys clear the way for Twigg to have this combo?
I think Maurice will send a quick telepathic, you want company or not?
I think it might be best to do this alone.
And Maurice turns and kind of makes a big show of like, I'm leaving, and also we should too, to the group.
And what about Kyrrie and Gavriel?
Gav will leave, no problem, and I think she'll also pick up on the massive telegraphing that Maurice is doing. I mean, she's curious, but it's just more like we will ask these questions later, and she just sticks her hands in her pockets and moseys her way on out.
And I will say this, as you do this and kind of like start moseying, you are flanked on either side by Maduin and Shia. Kyrrie, anything that you are doing before you leave the throne room, or will you leave the throne room?
I think Kyrrie is sort of last out the door in the group anyway. Did just for edification, because we know that swift justice was retributed on the Nazi wizard, but what did the queen decide, if anything, about Secretan? Or has she not decided yet?
She has learned that that Secretan was a part of that plot by basically kind of like forcing him to leave his post. Her judgment has not been decided.
Okay, I think Kyrrie casts one quick look back at Twigg, and is going, but if Twigg were to look at her as she was exiting, there's something very fleeting that crosses her eyes, but she turns away and exits afterward.
Okay. At which point, Twigg, alone in the throne room with the queen, she looks down at you expectantly.
Speak your request to me.
When we interrogated Secretan, he divulged some information that I find very troubling. I did not, or I do not think that you are my enemy, or that you seek to hurt me or mine, as such as it is. But he said I had been here before, and that this body had been here before, and those were not the same things, and that it was in service of the angels. Is there a reason why you did not tell me that when we met?
Much passes through my realm. Much do I see. But I am no sun warden. I do not see all. I delegate matters often to angels of my charge and who obey my will to the letter. But I am not, as it were, a monolith within the Silver Sun. Angels have independent interests, motives, projects, work that needs to be done to fulfill their own purposes. I have never met you, and I am not privy to any comings or goings you may have had in the past. However, if I can discover who may have been privy to your previous entry, I can rest assured, I can assure you that you will hear of these matters if that is what you request of me.
I just want to know who I am.
And she considers this for a moment. And she looks at you. And I am going to turn a card to see what estimation she comes to. The Weeping Priest, betrayal, weakness, turnabout, disillusionment, and loss. It is the apprentice of secrets, ravens, books, and flame. The priest sits alone, filled with sadness or remorse. What has happened? What's causing his misery? Happiness, success, and good fortune are fragile things, easily taken away by the cruel hand of fate. This is particularly true when there's probably unseen weakness in a plan. As the apprentice of the Secrets family, the Weeping Priest is its weak link. It's a hindrance at best, and a hidden stab in the back at worst. The worst secret of all is the one that conceals betrayal by the one you love the most. The Weeping Priest is almost always an unwelcome card. It indicates a surprise reversal, and it's almost always bad. It suggests that there's an unexpected weakness in the plan to deal with the matter at hand. An NPC changes their mind about something. Something is lost. An NPC suddenly turns on the PC. An NPC important to the PC dies or leaves forever. The PC suddenly finds themselves unexpectedly vulnerable. Do I weep most for the wrongs I have witnessed or those I have committed? I love that. So.
You would.
Yeah. She looks at you, and I think in the spirit of that card, she is going to scan you, and I think is going to do a more, less of kind of like a rushed analysis, let's say. You feel this truth-seeking gaze just fire out like so much radiation and heat from her vision, and she bathes you in this powerful divinatory magic. I will tell you this, I need you to make a resistance roll. Or not a resistance, a withstand roll. That is assuming that you kind of consent to this. You may also step away from her gaze at any point.
No, in fact, I think Twigg feels their natural magical defenses as an apostate kind of crumple underneath this, and they just lock eyes with the queen, and looking up and at her on her throne, and stand resolute.
Okay. The piercing gaze pierces you. Make me that withstand roll. I need you to hit probably at least a 9.
So that would be, I'll put a sword wedge into that.
Okay.
'Cause that sounds painful.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Okay.
That was a 4 and an 8.
How are you health-wise?
Fat stacks of health.
Uh-huh. So
well, I've got a permanent anguish, which isn't great.
mm-hmm.
It's fine. Thanks, Okris.
Mm-hmm.
Are you asking what my physicality is at, or whether I have any wounds?
Yeah.
I have no wounds. My physicality is at max, which is 10.
You feel her gaze part your being and sift through your body, looking as if almost diagnostically for abnormalities and strangenesses that, and I'll tell you this, this is a hard move. She is going to inflict both 1 wound and 1 anguish as she also begins to sift through your mind. This is incredibly painful, but she is doing it, you realize, with the express purpose of giving you answers.
Do I have the opportunity to cast a spell?
You may certainly do that.
Cool. Let me check to see whether this character has this spell, because sometimes it all gets a little bit blurry. Nope, never mind. I don't have this spell.
Okay.
That's an Okris thing. This is just gonna suck for me. So, is there any way to? So I just take the wound and the anguish, right? Or is there something I can do to not be one step away from death?
I will tell you this. You can use 1 point of intellect to negate the anguish, or 1 point of physicality to negate the wound. Your choice.
I will use a point of intellect to negate the anguish, because I already have that other permanent
and
anguish.
Tell me something, like, as you steel yourself against this, like, what are you doing to prevent that damage? What does this look like?
I think this is I think you see we see Twigg kind of ball their left hand into a fist, and then just kind of holding their chest, press their thumb into the incision, that never closing wound in their chest, and just cheat.
Yeah.
Use biology, pain gate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And she, I think, takes a moment, and this process is very brief, but it is agonizing for every moment. And when she is done, in a span of agonizing seconds, she sits back on the throne and estimates you. And she says the following.
There is much that is unusual about your person. Vislae as a whole are unusual and oftentimes unknowable to such immutable creatures as angels, even demons. It is why the latter takes so much interest in your souls, as they are often very powerful, very significant. They burn like forest fires. But in you, I sense not only this power, but a house divided. You are missing a vital piece of yourself, but it has been excised by your will at an earlier point. No other magic could have taken your heart from yourself. It must have been something that you or the constituent pieces of you consented to in order to prevent your own demise. But I sense a lack of an awareness, a lack of memory, a lack of shared understanding between you and the other riders in your person. Whether this is a conflict that can be bridged and ameliorated will depend on your choices. That I am certain. There is also a possibility that by separating your constituent pieces, you may somehow restore each piece. But without powerful magic, perhaps something destructive and rending from the red sun, or perhaps something metamorphic and transmogrifying like something from the gold sun. These changes would not be possible, and if enacted, would most likely be fatal. I also see that you have delved into a powerful secret or some kind of knowledge that has left its indelible mark upon you and weakened you. Your friend seeks to perform some act of restoration upon you. This much is clear from her interest. It most certainly would do much to restore your person. It may, however, have additional unintended side effects. But only you can decide whether or not that is a risk you wish to take. How else can I assist you in this endeavor?
I heard hints of this before, but you said riders. How many?
There are two others. As I said before, one who represents the original owner of this form. Another, a conceptual spirit not unlike you, but diametrically opposed.
No offense, but what does that mean?
I sense in you that you are a spirit of creation. This consciousness that controls this body presently. The other...
Me. Yeah, me.
You.
That's me.
Yes. The other that came before, or at least rides also in this form, is also a conceptual spirit. One of destruction. One of...
And her gaze pierces very deeply.
endings. Just as you are a spirit of beginnings. This form's original owner, this vessel, is a mystery to me. It seems to be hiding itself from my gaze. And I must say, that is no mean feat.
Is there anything else you can tell me?
As I said before, a house divided. But you should know, a house divided cannot stand. If you do not come to an accord with these entities inside of you, or somehow extricate them from your being, you will tear each other apart through your mere coexistence, or lack thereof. This process has already started with the indelible mark that has been left on you.
Well, if you can provide any information that would lead me to the heart, I would. I don't know why I or they would have agreed to remove it. I want it back. It belongs to me.
In my employ, there is a powerful mortal diviner, one who may be able to give you some evidence or clue as to that which the location of that which you seek. You will have their services as part of my boon, and we will consider this the extent of my assistance.
And she sits back on the throne.
Twig spins on their heel and marches towards the door.
Okay. So, while you are doing that, what is everybody else getting up to?
I think Maurice is going to wait for Twig. As he does, he has kind of Duncan in his arms, kind of like a baby, and walks up to Kyrrie and says, how you holding up?
Both okay. Do you think Twig's okay in there?
I think so. They seemed sure of themselves, at least sure in their decision.
I wonder what... Well, I suppose it's not really for me to ask. There's a reason they asked us to leave.
At this point, there are so many mysteries about this whole thing that we're discovering together. I don't begrudge anybody a few moments of privacy.
You're right. I suppose my instinct is to want to know. Because knowledge is power, and the more knowledge you have, then the more you can effectively work with.
And
I've never liked secrets.
That's why I wanted to ask you. You think this place has a library?
Kyrrie brightens at that. Oh, I sure hope so.
I can't think of a better way to spend the next couple hours.
And I think a kind of mischievous look crosses Kyrrie's face. Do you want to go find it?
And then Maurice holds up Duncan like Lion King style. It's like, do you want to find the library? Do you want to find the library?
You just hear a happy bork, and all of you hear in your minds, instead of in lieu of that sound, just say, I don't know, but I'm really excited about it.
That's never something I'm going to get used to, or maybe it'll take a while.
I don't think I want to get used to it.
You know, I could, and I think this is as they're walking away, I could use my Metalex engine. We might be able to refine some of Duncan's speech if there's something Duncan is particularly trying to get across that is coming across as a more simple emotion.
I'm
Maybe
sorry,
we could
I
get into
didn't even hear what you were saying. I love seeing you excited about what you're talking about.
And I think Kyrrie grins. I'll give you the full details upstairs.
You just all hear another bork and just say, I'm hungry.
And Maurice, no, you're not.
And another bork, I am so. Gavriel, you are flanked on either side by your mother and your father. So dissimilar, and yet in both of them you see such small but, undeniable reflections of yourself. Maduin is clothed in this very kind of elegant looking kind of robe, with a very deep kind of like bluish green with silver kind of trim tabard, and the robe itself a very deep kind of green gray. And he's looking at you concerned, as is your mother, who is, both of them regarding you, but they both seem to be waiting for you to speak to them.
I think Gav just watched Kyrrie and Maurice wander off talking about libraries, so she's out. Yeah, she just turns to her parents and well, you heard what was said as well as I did. There's a Vespertine base here.
And your mother, I think, says, yes, it is a certain cause for concern. I knew that they were victorious. I did not know how the extent of their victory might affect things. It's strange to me that they would have operations such as this. I thought they were clearly the victors. Whatever tasks, whatever plans, I thought they might have been enacted by now.
Who's to say they're not? Was there a deathless triumvirate when you were back in Saturn?
No. There was the council.
Ah, well. Then who's to say that the Vespertine have not in fact won and are merely trying to maintain their power? They've caused almost every vislae to forget the war and who they fought and why.
But it's
There's no telling what they could do.
I'm gonna turn a card right quick.
Good lord, what did I say?
The Raven, the companion of Secrets, Ravens, Books, and Flame. Meanings: jealousy, sight, and trickery. Companion to the Secrets family, the Raven sees everything and tells nothing. The Raven is smarter and wiser than it ever lets on. Its intelligence, however, manifests in its crafty solutions to problems. Some might use the word cheating, in fact. The Raven's weakness is greed and jealousy. It wants what you have, and that probably means your secrets. Can you keep them from its watchful eyes? Is it even worth trying? The sights seen by the too many eyes of the Raven are beyond anyone else's ability to cope. And as she thinks, Shia looks at Maduin, and I think Maduin, of course, concerned, kind of like looking on, is kind of almost like at some point kind of shakes his head at Shia, as if kind of like communicating more with his eyes. And she says, it's just strange. The Vespertine, at least the ones that I remember, they are not ones to, let's say, not celebrate a victory. They are secretive, yes, but I feel like this would be more ostentatious, less furtive operations in the dark. It's unsettling.
Then that means the work is not yet over. Maybe there is a chance to destroy them still.
Yes, absolutely.
Your companion during the war, Kieran, I know would probably very much like to speak with you both.
Where is Kieran? I would not have expected him to raise his head anytime. He always seems so under deep cover. He was a consummate spy.
Oh, I think he still is. I think at the very least, I think she's gonna go rummaging in her pocket and pull out the third eye.
Yeah.
At the very least, and she's hovering around like, we could give him some confirmation that we have met.
And you feel the eye attempt to turn in your grasp.
Yeah, I'm gonna let it sort of direct me if it starts to get animated.
Yeah, and as it is animated, like just imagine it on the palm of your hand as it kind of like spins in place, kind of like almost taking in all of the surroundings before spinning to look at you, and then like You would realize if it could, it would blink at you, but it doesn't have eyelids, and then it spins back and looks at both Maduin and Shia. And Shia looks at the eye, and Maduin also kind of a little bit taken aback, but you know, this isn't his first rodeo either.
I
But
would have thought that you would be familiar with this.
and then Shia looks and says, "That is."
He gave it to me just for a. I'm sure it was a security measure, but mostly I think it was, as you say, him wanting to spy.
And she kind of takes this in, this kind of knowledge, and says, well, then it is good to have allies in strange places and in strange facets.
I don't know if it's safe enough for you to return to Satrine. But if there is a way for you to communicate with one another, you should take it.
Well, now that he knows that where I am, I imagine Kieran will find a way. But in any way, and she just kind of sighs this heavy sigh and looks at you. It's the strangest thing. The power to be able to go any place, but feel stuck here. Let me impart some wisdom of your people to you, and you will be able to go wherever you need. I would feel better knowing that you are in the actuality, working to make it a better place. Where do you need to be?
Oh, well, I'll take it, of course, but I do not know if we are going back to Satrine for, well, at least for now. I think our business here in the Silver is not yet concluded.
I imagine there's not. There is more sabotage to investigate, more subterfuge to uncover.
More bases to destroy, more Vespertine to kill. My soldier's work is never done.
That too. And she looks at you, and she, there is kind of a look on her face as she says, Jadi, which you recognize, all of you who are close enough to hear, is the vislae word for "Are you ready?"
Gab just nods.
And yeah, I think that at that point, I think Maduin kind of puts a reassuring arm or kind of talon on her shoulder, and you just hear from Akarian. I have conferred with Yezomayal, and I have been instructed to direct you to retire for the evening should you wish to make use of our quarters. Of course, you are guests here for as long as you'd like to be a part here in the Silver Sun.
I appreciate that. I think for now I'd like to wait for my comrade, who is still in audience, I take it.
Very well. And I think at this point is when I think Twigg emerges from the throne room, the doors being opened on either side by these eagle-headed angelic guardians.
What noise do the eagle-headed guardians make?
That is a good question. I'm going to turn a card.
Like a slide whistle.
Kazoo.
God. All right. What is the most chaotic thing you can think of? Because I just pulled.
What's the thing? No, what's that one note trumpet at soccer events?
Yeah.
Oh, the
Vuvuzela?
Vuvuzela.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that.
I just pulled the revolutionary card. So the sovereign.
No!
Of
Wait, my sovereign?
Yeah, actually, yeah, this is your sovereign. He changed everything and looked damn good doing it. So you narrate for me what this looks like.
No.
Yes, that's how this works.
Be
No,
careful what
because
you
now
ask for.
we've now pulled my companion, my apprentice, my companion, and my sovereign. So all that's left is to pull in a row, like the royal flush of shits, where I end up with my nemesis. And
Are we still doing phrasing?
Phrasing.
Okay. I think that they give off this kind of vague clatter. Their feathers chime in such a way that does not quite seem connected to the physicality that is around them. And it's almost evocative of wind chimes in the winds of magic of other places. Like it definitely has like this strange ethereal quality that seems very like it's definitely happening. It's just not happening here. And then I think a beak opens and you hear just a truly fundamentally ungraceful sound, because these are angels and not graceful angels. These are eagle-headed guard boys. And you just hear the world's deepest Gugazela. Now I want pasta, and I don't know why.
What? That is just all right. This game is surreal enough.
Yeah.
It's just like imagine if you attached a massive Bill, how do you pronounce it again? For the kids?
Vuvuzela?
A vuvuzela?
Vuvuzela, if you attached a massive vuvuzela to a foghorn.
Oh my god, yes. Okay. Yeah, there's just this boom as you realize the doors have opened. Twig exits, just looking absolutely hammered to hell and beaten into form.
Yeah, we got drunk.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, like, it's more like hammered to shit. As if just like honestly you have taken a lot over the course of the last few days. And
You mean 3 weeks, Zach? You mean 3 weeks?
yeah,
Been like what? 3 weeks?
the 3 weeks from hell. So yeah, basically you come out.
Oh yeah, bleeding profusely from the chest, nose, and probably eyes.
Yeah.
You look better. That wasn't happening before, was it? Like Gav is just very casually watching this. She got a little startled with the gigantic Vuvuzela foghorn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like when the doors open and this noise happens, you just see Twig just kind of going like at this ungodly noise, which is very unangelic noise.
But
and, Twig kind of,
by the way, as you are
pretty sure it wasn't.
As you're hearing the vuvuzela, I think Kyrrie and your guide, both Maduin and Shia and Akarian and Yezamayal, this strange, they all just kind of turn expectantly and just kind of like very casually, oh yes, this is how things are. And all of, and I think it's just startling to everybody, including Duncan just gives off this bork, like, you know, just like, oh, that's terrible. Oh, what's that?
Yeah, I think Gav's head feathers went like straight up like a cockatoo, and then are slowly like she runs a hand through them to like put them back down.
Yeah, I think it's like just like a foghorn and a vuvuzela mixed with like the inception sound.
Yeah.
Sound.
Hans Zimmer has composed the Eagle Angels.
And yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, Twig is not looking great.
I
What
felt better.
happened in there?
I got seen.
Oh, Gav is like, I have no idea what that means. Do you need help? You're bleeding profusely.
So I am.
Yes. Why
Yeah, I
don't
should
we?
probably-
Let's get you cleaned up.
Okay.
And she gives a nod to her parents, like we'll catch up in a second.
Yeah, absolutely.
As she'll escort you back to our main chambers.
Yeah, I think Twigg is definitely like not staggering, but limping along here. Like the weight of trauma and the weight of physical trauma have combined to create extra trauma.
Would you like that trauma supersized?
Yes, it is in fact supersized trauma. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think as Gav is just walking back with you, I'd say we get there and she can break out some bandages. And she's just unwrapping them very casually. She's going through so it's definitely Twigg again, not Tokris.
Yep.
Well, shame.
Yeah, sorry about that. I take it you two. Yeah, you would get along.
We were starting to. I didn't have the opportunity to know them for very long.
Oh, sorry about that. I think I'm not actually entirely clear on why I ended up back here instead of in the weird, creepy forest.
Hold still, and she just like yanks on the bandage as we're talking.
And just the one in the middle doesn't close. Don't worry about it. It just doesn't close.
That one was definitely there before.
Yeah. That was there when I woke up.
So you're just really fucked up, aren't you? I mean, more than I thought before.
I think, wait, you're from like the 40s, so I was going to say the Magic 8 Ball says signs point to yes, but you don't.
Is that a vislae thing or a real thing?
No. I also don't think that that's real, so I guess it's a comforting lie.
Sure, we can go with that.
It's like a big 8 ball, like you know what billiards are?
Yeah, I do. Yes.
Actually, this is really
What do you think I was born
crazy.
under a rock?
But also, like, what a bizarre. So
wait, in your time they stuck like what, like a prophecy in a billiard ball?
Yeah, but a really big one. And in retrospect, that's fucking crazy.
Why?
Why was everybody okay with that?
This is not what I wish to discuss with you. What magic 8 balls and pool tables and billiards. We got off on the wrong foot, and then repeated to continually step on the wrong feet.
Yeah, there was a lot of footstepping.
Uh-huh. But considering we're stuck together, maybe we should try to not continue that.
That seems reasonable. It feels. Oh, this all still feels absolutely fucking surreal.
Really? Well, I wouldn't know anything about that.
I rolled a 1 on my interaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. I mean, you've been here for a while, so I'm sure you just got. And look, you have family now. That's
new.
That's great.
That's a recent development.
Yeah.
Well, up until this moment, I thought you were like the rest of us, and just that we didn't know who we were. But I think there's clearly some sort of divide.
Yeah, there's extra steps on that.
Yeah. That sounds difficult.
It's not great. I personally love how fucking awkward this conversation is.
It's like the two worst people at trying to talk to each other, and it's fucking. I'm trying so hard not to laugh.
I was gonna laugh if I didn't say something. Yeah. like an unnecessary number of extra steps. Like a really fucking unnecessary number of extra steps.
Yeah,
Who cuts out their own heart? Who does that?
Did you cut? Oh, wait, I'm confused. You cut out your heart?
Maybe?
What?
And I think there's supposed to be two. Because what I from the
You cut out two hearts. You couldn't stop at one. Kept going.
I don't know if it was me. I don't know if it was. You see Twigg visibly restrain themselves from saying that dick bag. I don't know if it was Okris or someone else.
How many? I've got 77 people in here. How many do you have? Just so we're clear on numbers.
Wait, you have 7? There's 7.
77 angels apparently in here. She's pointing to the halo, and that's what the Elder Stem said.
That sounds so noisy.
It can be. They don't all talk at once anymore. Does that happen to you? With all the
No.
different voices? No? Oh, okay.
Actually, I'm low-key yeah. I don't know.
More like a split personality thing.
Yeah.
Like if I hit you over the head, maybe somebody else would come out.
Please don't hit me over the head.
I'm not gonna hit you over the head. Somebody already did, clearly.
I mean, not physically, but yeah. I don't know what's going on. And Twigg does this and
did
like
anyone
just
bring you
spears
up to
blood
speed?
everywhere.
Stop. That's gross. Then she like gets you a washcloth.
Yeah, just like here, hold on.
No, not really. Everybody gives me cryptic fucking responses to every question and then gives me like a vague hints, and then I have to go and ask somebody else. It's like playing the world's worst pick your own adventure game. Except half the time I'm not me. Oh, and I've got and I think can you keep a secret?
Yes.
That wasn't very convincing.
Well, it depends on what it is. Is it a life-threatening secret, or is it just we're trying to? This is your way of bonding.
I mean,
oh well, then sure.
The queen said there's a third person in there.
Oh, why not?
Yeah, I've never met a third person.
We haven't either yet. So I can't knock you over the head, and maybe we'll find out who this third person is. Then I'll knock you right back.
I do not think, you know what? I don't think that's how it works, but you know what? Fucking this place, it might be. Maybe you just need to
I could get a bottle.
That feels specific.
I've not been thinking.
I was going to
about
say
it.
celery or something.
Celery?
Yeah.
Over the head? Like the vegetable?
As if anything else
How much
makes
blood
sense.
did you lose?
I have no idea, actually. I am pretty wet.
Hmm.
It's, like, I probably should change at some point.
Probably, yes. You know that we still have a Vespertine base to destroy. Would that make you feel better?
Yeah, kind of. At least, like, nothing else makes sense, but at least they've conveniently made themselves into, like, the biggest dick bags on the block.
Right, exactly. Yeah, all you need to know is they want to destroy everything. And they tried to kill most of my people in order to do this. So I say we shoot them because I understand this problem. I'm not sure what's happening with you, but we can maybe figure it out on the way.
That makes zero of us understanding what's happening. You know what?
And maybe we stop yelling at each other so much. How about that? I don't know how long I'll be able to do it, but
I can try.
not out there. I could try, yes. Yeah, I'm listen, everything is very confusing still. Like you said, I barely understand, and everything is very cryptic for me as well. So look, we've got one thing in common.
The world is ass?
Yes, very much so. And I would like to fix it.
Oh, you know, well, the world keeps trying to kill me, so I might as well.
All right. So that was my apology. Yes. Now it's done.
Oh, yeah, we're doing apologies. Sorry for
consuming my memories, rifling around through my brain, pulling things out that I didn't agree to.
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. And we'll never be doing that again? Or I will actually attempt to hit you over the head, but not in the fun way where we find out your other personalities.
I don't think it works that way, but...
You don't know if it doesn't.
I think it is. Yeah.
I think we cut. That's a great cutaway spot.
I think
the offer is on the table.
I think there's this moment of détente. I think we kind of cut away from here. I will say that all of you are directed to the kind of shared diplomatic suite that all of you were directed to before. If you had put anything there, like ephemera and other kind of like equipment or inventory pieces, like it would be there to kind of greet you. Everything's kind of like, I think at this point, like this is kind of like hotel turn down service. There are a number of silver robes that you can wear. There are facilities for refreshing yourselves. I will say, as you guys are like, you are having that walk and talk kind of discussion, the two of you, Maurice, Kyrrie, you guys are also making your way up, Duncan in tow. If you inquire as to the location of a library, and I think that, you know, assuming that's what you do, you find that Acarian says, well, there's not necessarily any libraries here on the grounds within this palace, but the Silver Sun is home to the library of a tomb, one of the greatest archives of the knowledge of the actuality that exists. It would be our pleasure to take you there as a small bit of recompense when you have concluded your business with the Queen, or whatever it is you've come here to do. I'm still a little bit of a loss.
I'm afraid I couldn't tell you either.
Thought we had a plan. Somehow it never seems to go exactly the way we thought.
I prefer to say that what we end up doing was our plan all along.
And I think Acarian kind of like nods sagely, his owl head and the third eye kind of like blinking at you all, at which point he just says, well, we find as angels that it is the same with creations and beginnings. Oftentimes, simple acts, simple inceptions and ideas, they have many forking paths and developments. It's one of the most beautiful aspects of what we do.
We're coming back from wherever Ocarian was leading us, or?
Ocarian's leading you from the throne room back to the diplomatic suite.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Kyrrie turns to Acarian and asks, so this archive, do you know who manages it?
Oh, I believe that is partly managed by the blessed cartographers. However, I know it's not striking my mind quite right now. I think there's just been so much going on. But there is a very, very well-known head librarian. I'm sure that if you are seeking anything, that they would be able to help you.
Indeed. And does this head librarian know the Guardian of the Silver Sun?
I wouldn't be surprised. The Guardian, the Sun Warden, often visits the kingdom proper.
You see, I accused the Sun Warden of keeping knowledge from people, and I regret that, I think, now. I'd be interested to learn more about how knowledge is kept and distributed here, and what their involvement is.
Well, then I'm sure it would be the head librarian's pleasure to show you. Anything for a hero of the realm, so to speak.
Maybe first thing tomorrow?
Certainly, yes. Assuming you have no other plans, I will put it into the docket.
Wonderful.
Thank you. I appreciate everything you've done for us, Acarian.
It is sincerely the least that I could do. I'm still kind of taken aback by the feeling of what transpired. I knew there was this moment that I wasn't myself and that I couldn't control myself, but I have to say that all of you, I'm so grateful that that was not something that a permanent condition. I can't speak for everyone that you've helped, but I can't think of a better thing that any of you could have done. You might be some of the finest vislae that have ever visited this realm.
Thank
Kyrrie
you.
looks at the floor. She is not used to this and does not have a reaction appropriate to it.
Well, nevertheless.
Maurice gives heartfelt thanks.
And with that, Acarian leaves you to your own devices. So, as all of you bed down and kind of rest for this day upcoming that you will need to kind of confer with and kind of confirm what you want to do, I'm curious, are any of you doing anything else before sleeping off the events of the last day?
Well, I think I have to go get that advice from my mom. It would be rude if I didn't.
Absolutely.
You can always off screen it if you'd rather.
I think that this is a moment where I think this is a fairly quick sketch. So when you kind of come to speak to her, she begins teaching you 2 spells that represent the foundation of your people's ability to traverse the actuality. Those spells are Pathwalker and Color Door. Now, she tells you a bit about the principles behind them. You have to remember that to traverse the actuality, to jump from sun to sun, from color to color, is not just a journey across a universe, a multiverse of possibilities or locations. You are traversing the cartography of your own soul. And the better you know yourself, the better you will know the actuality and the means by which you may traverse it. This is at the heart of our people's knowledge. It is the stories that we pass down, the achievements that we recognize, and she points to her own kind of collection of suns that she has traversed, that, as you recall, your time inside Mott's psyche, there's about 15 or 16 medallions that are this constellation of representing the suns that she has traversed both dayside and nightside. This is the first step on a much larger journey to knowing yourself. Will you let me help you embark?
Yes.
And you spend the rest of the night working at these 2 spells. You will need more time to finish your training, but in the meantime, I will send you the text of those spells in chat. Who else would like to get up to anything before the end of the evening?
This probably will not result in anything, but I think Twigg is lying down in bed after having eaten a decent noir novel about something about the scent of sunset, but too distracted to really focus on their digestion, and is just lying in bed, sleepless, much less bloody, and thinking very hard about Okris and hoping that will let them talk. Just like, hey,
gonna turn a card.
No, I didn't. I thought you were gonna make a joke. What do you think the odds are it's my nemesis?
Let's roll them dice.
There are no dice. Well, there are dice on your desk. Or for your use, whatever. Don't fucking do it.
The questing knight, the apprentice of visions, swans, blades, and water. Meanings: justice, journey, determination, achieving goals. The apprentice of the Visions family, the questing knight is a stalwart and focused individual seeking justice, but over the long term. The quest is long and hard. Success, however, comes to the persistent and the determined. Nothing stops the knight and their consecrated steed. No journey too long, no quest too difficult keeps them from their goal. So, as you stare sleeplessly off into the ceiling of these very well-appointed chambers, we cut from that moment and burrow deep inside your being. I need to change the music. And I also need to change the overlay briefly. In a desert wasteland, peppered with the ruins of ended memories, ended civilizations, Okris, in your mindscape, you see nothing around you but miles and upon miles of wasteland, of endings, of ruins, of stories that have come to a conclusion. You very briefly hear your name as if spoken on the wind. But for even that, for miles around you, all that you hear, all that you see, are the dust storms of a ruined expanse. And it's on that note that we are going to take our 10-minute break. So, all of you awaken refreshed, which for all intents and purposes means all of your pools are refreshed. If you have some ongoing harm, you may choose to negate one wound or one anguish to kind of be assisted by that refreshment. So go ahead and reset everything on your sheets as you guys dive into the next day in the Silver Sun. So first off, I think at the very beginning of the morning, as all of you are kind of like sleeping in, just utterly exhausted, I believe I'm going to say, Maurice, you hear a knock at your door. Yeah, you hear a knock at your door.
I think would be very in character for Duncan to immediately run barking to the door.
Hey, you! Hey, who are you? Hey, what's going on? Hey!
Shh, Duncan, it's all right. And he opens the door.
And standing there, just looking a little bit sheepish, as is his wont, is Okarian.
Good morning. What can I do for you?
Oh, good morning. I have come to let you know that Queen Frageliva has bid me to ascertain what your plans.
Relax, buddy. That's fine. It's just me.
Okay. So Queen Frageliva has asked me to ascertain what your intentions are for the day. I had heard that there was some intent upon visiting the library of a tomb, but there seems to be.
Are we connected? Did we decide that it's like a connected bunch of rooms?
Yeah, it's a connected bunch of rooms.
It's a suite.
It's a suite.
It's a suite of suites.
So
yeah.
I think when you say like wants to ascertain what you're doing, you just hear murder. As Gav is just leaning against the back wall leading into her room.
Well, that is disconcerting.
Okay, and we haven't actually nailed all that down. Could you bring some breakfast? I think we'll have a better idea.
We could order breakfast first.
Gav, just
I'm just that, and she walks away.
And then he leans in kind of conspiratorially towards Akarian. He's like, I would fuck up some breakfast though.
And Akarian just looks and says, well, certainly, what would everybody like? We have a number of very talented chefs here in the palace.
Let's see. I'm gonna guess. Could we have maybe a smattering of newspapers from across the actuality for Twigg? If we could get maybe, I don't know, like an essence of organization, an essence of order for Kyrrie. The satiation of having just made a fresh kill and eaten your fill. And I'll take a bowl of oatmeal and some avocado toast.
Certainly.
Pancakes from the back.
And pancakes.
And Okarian just looks and says, certainly, I'll be right back. And some time elapses. I think all of you have the opportunity to kind of like refresh yourselves and get ready for the day. You will notice that in addition to those silver robes that have been kind of given you guys, the equivalent of the hotel robes in the Silver Sun, but the just long and flowing and lustrous and just very kind of like, as you put them on, you feel kind of like protected and like very, it's like wearing a very elegant looking Snuggie, what it feels like. And
What?
And so you also find not far away, actually, as you are seeing him depart, one of these angelic protectors, one of the divine guards of the castle, brings to all of you your clothing, if you had set it out to be freshly laundered. You'll notice that anybody who kind of acquiesced to the service, any wear and tear that you have endured to the clothing, any staining, anything seems to be just immaculately removed. They're practically brand new. And not a little bit of time passes, but pretty soon you see another angelic guard some 30 minutes later carrying to all of you a very kind of nicely floating serving platter on which are a number of kind of covered dishes. And one of the things that you notice is that as the angelic guards kind of like remove the covers of each of these dishes, they're very much to your specifications, Maurice. They are immaculately presented. The presentation is incredible. Like, I think what ends up happening is the newspapers are fanned out, and at the like very center of it, almost like a cherry on top, is a small zine that is in the composition of like a small circle. But it's kind of almost spherical, so it's like an animation book that you can kind of like flip and see like imagery and moving in through, and you realize that it's basically the cherry at the middle of this. There are pancakes, but at the same time on top of them is very thick slabs of cut bacon, at least it would appear to be, just like very thick bellies, but at the same time, moving over, you have your kind of very, very plain kind of, by relative standards, avocado toast. And at the same time, you have, Kyrrie, what would you say is a very regimented, well-ordered breakfast for you?
Well, I mean, I think if it's the essence of organization, it is the essence of organization incredibly organized. So like, you know, it is fractured into like a grid sort of situation, and like each piece, it's almost like, imagine 48 shot glasses arranged in like very distinct grid-like pattern, and each shot glass is like a different color, almost like a mosaic, kind of creates a whole image. It's that way with flavor and also with taste. And so your experience of the essence of organization and order depends on which order you decide to drink the various shot glasses in. And as long as you have a plan, you have a good experience. If you just randomly decide to start drinking shot glasses, it probably tastes disgusting, and the levels of flavor don't build on one another.
I will tell you this is probably, you realize as all of you are eating that this meal, each of these meals has been made by divine hands, literally creative creatures, these angels that all of them kind of are devoted to some creative practice. And this has probably led to the creation of the actualities, some of the actuality's finest chefs. And the meal that you all experience is probably one of, if not the best breakfasts you've ever had in your lives. Obviously, there are some meals that are influenced by nostalgia and memory that no doubt will eclipse even such a sumptuous meal, but it comes very close second. And Acarian, as he kind of delivers this breakfast unto all of you before leaving the floating platter to one side in the diplomatic suite, looks to all of you and says, well, when you are ready, when you are refreshed and dressed, please visit Queen Frageliva's throne room. We will have some means of determining how best to proceed.
I think Maurice wipes away some toast crumbs from his beard and says, yeah, so what's the plan?
Well, in all honesty...
oh, no, I was talking to them. You can go. We'll catch up with you later.
Oh, certainly. And he just very quickly kind of like looks and then like just kind of like, closes the door behind him and
You're
leaves.
doing great.
I am going to turn a card real quick because I need to see something. All right. The cat. Solitude, curiosity, cleverness, and dexterity. Cats see much. They prowl about or simply find a good vantage point and watch and sleep. Should something really catch their eye, however, they move to investigate. Curiosity killed the cat. As the saying goes, and it's true, but cats have 9 lives, and thus they can afford a little curiosity. Humans make excellent domesticated companions for cats. So, the interesting thing that you notice, Twigg, as you are devouring the newspapers is one story catches your eye in particular. It is featured on in this kind of photograph on the front of the newspaper, a photograph, or at least kind of some sort of artistic representation of a very dour looking woman. And in it is, you realize there's a little kind of caption on this photograph that says, Supreme Magus Ota Clasp, seen here in the confines of her office. And underneath is a big headline that just says, confidence in Vancian campus and Vancian administration shaken. And if you read in further, there are some questions as to Ota's leadership over the Vancian campus and the Order of the Vance as a whole.
This wouldn't by chance happen to have been written by a certain journalist back in Citrine, would it have been?
Why, I'm so glad that you asked. It is indeed a story. I believe it is the Saturnine Sight and Sound.
I think Twigg realizes this halfway through eating it. And then thanks to certain abilities, I have a perfect memory. And will just kind of go, anybody got a pen?
Maurice absolutely has a pen on hand.
Yeah. What type of pen does Maurice have?
Like the Saturnine equivalent of a Mont Blanc.
All right. I think Twig takes it and looks at it suspiciously, and then begins to rewrite everything that has been wiped clean off this section of newspaper very quickly, and kind of passes it to hands it. Ooh, what's the table we're sitting at like for my edification?
Like it's made out of ivory bone. Just very immaculate, but it's kind of translucent in pieces, almost like alabaster. There's kind of like this almost like marble quality to it too. It's just this very unique. It's very uniquely, I believe it is. It's a very unique form of material, but it's lovingly crafted, as is everything in this suite.
Cool. I'm imagining Twig is sitting further away from. Roll a dice to find out where how the seating arrangements. That's right. I'm sitting opposite Kyrrie. And so Twig is going to just kind of pass the pen and the paper back to Maurice, like with kind of like a and just should pass that to our friendly neighborhood Vance.
Kyrrie reads it and looks up at Twig, completely deadpan. You realize this after you ate it? Do you know how newsprint affects the experience of reading an article of journalism?
I know how it affects my digestion.
That wasn't the question.
That wasn't an answer.
This is a napkin upon which you have hastily scrawled in your almost unintelligible handwriting an article which seems to be of great importance to my order.
It is perfect, as long as you can read it.
Gavriel's laughing into her pancakes.
That is the issue at hand. Care to translate? I think there's some shorthand in here. I haven't seen shorthand since I was in the Gray.
What's shorthand?
Gavriel, as this is happening, you notice the paper that has been exposed as part of this fanned out display as a consequence of Twig eating the other one. You see a kind of like photograph also featured like on this kind of like the lower quadrant of the right hand side. It's not like the headline, but it is kind of like an also ran secondary kind of story. You recognize the subject of the photo very quickly. You recognize Nikolai.
Chokes on her coffee, tea, some sort of get up and go substance that we have vaguely asked for. And just hang on a second. She grabs for the newspaper.
Yeah, and I think just this watchfulness, that kind of like that feeling of like something that was brought to your attention like that because of your vigilance, and kind of like your surface awareness of everything around you. You notice that there is a story about the Church of Midnight in this article, which says, Church of Midnight seeing resurgence in number of vislae seeking therapy and assistance. And it shows very clearly, featured on the photograph, Nikolai is assisting an older woman, kind of handshaking her and shaking her hand, and has this very kind of like cheery smile on his face as he is speaking to her, and there's a smile on her face as well. And it seems to be a human interest piece, or a vislae interest piece, as it were.
Can I hold on to this?
Yeah.
She just rips that one thing off and then pushes the rest back to you.
Kyrrie points at it. Newsprint. Useful. Legible to all.
Well, maybe if you had drunk your coffee faster, you would have seen this before Twig got to it.
I'm sorry, I'm a little focused on my essence of order and organization. It's a very finicky process.
Yeah. What is this? It's not coffee, but it tastes like.
What does it taste like to you? Because to me, it tastes like coffee.
It doesn't taste like coffee to me. It tastes like something. Somebody threatened a fruit.
Wonder if they spiked it with ambrosia. That would track.
That looks like LaCroix.
Yes, angelic LaCroix.
It's angelic LaCroix.
It's been sitting next to some divine fruits for a while, so it's picking up on the essence.
Mhm.
Somebody
Magnet.
shouted
We'll be here all
really
week.
God.
Yeah, if there's nothing else that you guys would like to do here, Queen Frageliva awaits.
Well, that's menacing. I'm gonna finish eating breakfast, and I'm gonna steal anybody's breakfast who hasn't nailed their breakfast down.
Eat the bacon.
Please take one vial from Kyrrie's Essence of Organization. I promise you it's going to be gross, whatever you pick.
Amazing. Definitely happens. I think like maybe on the way out, Twigg like grabs like this. I'm kind of picturing like tiny like half shot glasses and tosses it back and just.
You hear Kyrrie's melodic tones. That was supposed to be glass number 45.
So, we were supposed to come up with a plan before we go see the queen. I don't want to keep her waiting much longer, though. So, I mean, what do we got?
Walk and talk.
Well, I think that eliminating the last of the Vespertine threat in the Silver Sun might take some form of precedence.
Where was that again?
Somewhere in the Forest of Elegant Measures.
We need
That's
a map.
also where Secreton's significant other is, correct?
2 birds, 1 stone.
Huh. Yeah, that sounds
Do you think
good.
they're birds?
Twig.
I try not to think about what the 1-for-1 equivalent might be. It surely can't be 2 angels, 1 stone. That doesn't feel right.
Yeah, that feels wrong too.
You sure you're not missing your brain, Twig?
This is what I asked
Wow.
them.
Wow. Thanks, Maurice.
Did you know that the expression...
Duncan.
Yeah.
Bite your dad.
Why now?
Did you know-
Can you bite your dad a little bit for me?
No, I wouldn't bite my dad. I love my dad. And there's just like a bunch of like barking in kind of Duncan's sing-song voice.
Did you know that the expression killed 2 birds with 1 stone originated from the story of Daedalus and Icarus? Because Daedalus killed 2 birds with 1 stone in order to get the feathers of the birds and make wings. Seems appropriate to where we are.
Fascinating.
And it is at this moment.
So everybody
the one where
kills the
everybody died,
Vespertine.
right? That's the one where the old man made the wings and then his kid died.
Yep.
Too close to the sun. Or
What?
suns, I suppose.
So the moral of the story is there are a lot of phrases for one story.
Very true.
And you guys all see, like, as you are having this conversation, Okarian is awaiting you by the throne room.
I love that we could go from an episode where we were absolutely terrifying to this.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to my world. I love it. Yeah, Okarian just says, you are awaited,
In Valhalla.
Not what is that place? Anyhow, yes, Queen Frageliva awaits you in the throne room. I imagine it has something to do with the question of the Vespertine at hand. I will usher you in. And of course he works with the Vuvuzela speaking eagle-headed
That's canon now.
angels who announce you in that foghorn. It does not become easier to take, even though you are expecting it. All of you once again shaken. Okarian just not at all, completely oblivious to any of this.
My feathers keep going up when I hear that, and I have to like jam them back down for a little dignity.
Yeah, at which point Queen Frageliva is awaiting all of you. There is in the throne room a contingent of divine soldiers, and there is this very large bear-like creature with snow white fur. But you notice that at the end of its snout is a pair of spectacles. And you just hear Queen Frageliva look on at all of you and say,
Greetings. Thank you for meeting me at this point of the day. While I know that your efforts have probably no doubt exhausted you, it is important that we move quickly, at least while we have time.
and she kind of like looks to the bear-like creature that is on the kind of throne floor popper and says,
This is an scribe. It will write down everything that it witnesses within the headquarters of these Vespertine agents. I ask that you merely facilitate my will by bringing it with you and escorting it into the headquarters so that it can report back to me whatever it finds.
Do we have an escort mission with a righty bear boy?
I think Kyrrie steps forward. Where was it trained? Did it study at university?
Its abilities are unique to its species, and it is native to the Silver Sun.
Oh. Where did it learn to write?
That is a secret that perhaps only the scribe can reveal unto you.
Well, I only ask because I do have a spell which can do this exact thing. And in the interest of efficiency, perhaps it's the order and organization I just had for breakfast, but I did just want to mention that I wouldn't want to put this scribe in danger unnecessarily if, of course, I could take the notes that you need.
I would prefer that this creature accompany you. If you wish to secure the headquarters before its entry, then you may do so.
Kyrrie looks competitively at this bear.
the bear looks bear-like back at you, completely nonchalant.
You might even say you're unbearably competitive.
And
I'm drinking. We're not playing. It's not happy hour, but
I mean,
drinking.
listen, when it comes to academics, it can be a real grisly affair.
Are you going to be competing for that tenure cheese?
I know, but looking at the two of you, I mean, you seem like polar opposites.
Worst one yet.
I did this to myself.
I can keep going.
Guys, no, that would be a real bear. Let's go
That'd be
ahead.
a real black day.
You're right. We'll hibernate, and then there'll be some more jokes later.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the stipulation that all of you have been given. What do you guys do?
Maurice walks up and puts out his hand. Maurice Webb, nice to meet you.
The bear is licking at one of its paws, kind of like regards you, and you just hear, "Oh," and just this kind of like bear-like kind of punctuation, and then just literally the bear claws on top of your hand before kind of like going back. And Duncan is going nuts, by the way.
What's he saying?
He's just like, "Oh, don't like you. Don't like you. You're big. You're big and you're talking to my dad."
And just for the record, this is only the four of us understand this?
Yeah. Only you four understand it.
And Maurice goes, "Oh, that is so rude. Pleasure to make your acquaintance." And then like when the paw met his hand, like absolutely just like completely like dropped his waiting, and he's like, "Okay then," and turns around like, "I've had better ideas."
Yeah. I will say that when it does make contact with your hand, it just kind of like brings its paw back, and then there's almost like a sage nod that accompanies that moment.
Scribe recognize scribe.
I'm pretty sure that Gav is not fazed by being told she needs to bring a bear into a potential skirmish.
Hey,
You know what they say about Russians and bears in the,
it's
in the military.
Hey, you never bring a gun to a bear fight. That's all I'm
Exactly.
saying. Yeah.
Shout out to Vojek. Let's just gonna put that out into the universe. Shout out to Vojek.
All right. At which point, I think Frageliva, gestures, and you see who has just kind of been ushered into the throne room, but Shia Kazan, and at which point she says,
Mistress Kazan will facilitate your travel to the Forest of Measures. However, at this point, along with the guard contingent, along with the Urscribe, you will have a limited ability to ascertain the location of this place. It will fall upon your facilities and your faculties to determine its whereabouts. I trust that you will be most capable.
Your Majesty, what might we expect to find in the Forest of Measures? I've never been.
The Forest of Measures, its trees are formed of glass that reflect no form at all. They are unique and beautiful. I believe that they were crafted as part of the inception of the Silver Sun on the part of the Al Rustam. It is somewhat disorientating for mortals, but should you have any other means of divining a direction or any other magical implements, I would trust those as opposed to a landscape, so to speak.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
and Shia, at which point looks to all of you and says, so I can usher you to the outskirts of the forest, but it's a fairly long, several miles long forest. You will have to navigate your way there. I have to keep the door open both ways, so where you enter will also be where you return. Are all of you ready for the journey ahead?
How much time will we have before the door closes?
I can keep this open all day, but I cannot leave this place to help you. It will fall on your shoulders.
And are we under orders to explicitly not engage the enemy, merely scout?
And there is this moment where I think engaging you, your mother looks up at Queen Frageliva.
You may terminate any Vespertine agent you find with extreme prejudice.
Let's go!
I think Kyrrie steps up to Queen Frageliva. Hang on. Secretan, the Guardian. What's going to happen to him while we're away?
We shall await any evidence that you find within this headquarters, and then we will determine his fate and his complicity in this act.
So you haven't decided yet?
No.
Far be it from me to interfere with your judgment, Queen Frageliva. But you have known Secretan a long time. Did you not notice something was not right? He is your friend, is he not?
There is a moment where I think that she kind of cocks her head at you. And there is this moment where her eyes narrow.
You presume much.
I've been told that. But if his Achilles' heel is that his fear for his friend overrode his duty, then should you not be lucky to have him as a guardian, for he will defend what he loves, no matter the consequence?
The city on the hill somehow became of secondary concern to its most trusted guardian.
And I think the question at hand is why. Surely a loyalty to a person befits their character and speaks well of them rather than ill.
The needs of this city outweigh the needs of the few or the one.
But how many centuries has Escort stood guardian with nary a complaint? Will you execute him for his first quote-unquote infraction?
If that is what I find justice must mete out, then it shall be done.
What would you need to see to stay your hand?
A certitude that such negligence will not visit upon us, the city of the hill, city on the hill, destruction.
Certitude. You deal in certitudes, it seems. We will bring back what we can, but I would urge you to think on it, and maybe think twice before you consider what justice may look like in this particular case.
Vislae may be many things, but they are mortals. And as deeply as the current may run through you, do not presume to order the Queen of Angels herself.
I do not presume to order, Your Highness, merely to offer counsel and perspective. Although I know not what current you speak, a matter for a later conversation, perhaps.
Perhaps indeed.
And she leans back. At which point Shia looks to all of you, her eyes flicking between each member of your party, and she speaks a incantation and begins moving her hands in a pattern until she kind of takes her fingers and begins drawing a long rectangular shape, and you see it almost rising from the floor, a large oaken doorway that itself is silver in color and seems to shimmer, and on it is a ornate handle of that alabaster material, and she looks to all of you and says, "I have it now. Go."
Maurice looks to all of you and grabs Duncan up in his arms and calmly steps through.
And as you do this, the door opens. Maurice steps through with Duncan. The Scribe follows, as well as flanking it two angelic protectors.
I think Twigg will hop through after. Just kind of a little bit lighter on their feet after a good night's rest. Presuming they're not still wounded. Zach.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say with a good night's rest, you can definitely heal that one wound.
Yay. I just have my one permanent anguish. Yay.
Yay.
This is fun.
One step less close to death. Anyhow, yeah. So Twigg has walked through. Gavriel, Kyrrie.
Yeah, Gav's going through. No problem.
All right.
I think rounding us off, Kyrrie will follow, although we'll turn back as she does so, lock eyes with Queen Frageliva and say, "Think on what I've said, my queen," as she's disappearing into the portal.
You just see her eyes narrow at your statement once again.
Was that audible to Maurice through the portal, like a sound?
I will say, yeah, it's basically an extra dimensional space. There's kind of this hallway. As you step out, I'll describe what you see, but you do hear it.
Maurice rolls his eyes.
Okay. So as all of you step through, the door gently shuts behind you, and the door closes, but remains this doorway in the middle of what you realize is a large forest, and on one side you see kind of like this expanse of silver and like this reflecting sheen of the sunlight on kind of silver bladed grass and kind of like additional kind of plains land. But before you stretches this massive forest that you realize is composed of trees that appear to be made from glass, reflective glass, and yet as you pass them, each of them on your way into its depths, none of these trees offer any kind of reflection, whether it's through their foliage, whether it's on the branches or on the trunks themselves. It's just this very disconcerting kind of place where the light, the silver light, kind of reflects and bounces from tree to tree all over. It's almost blinding. Some of you have to avert your eyes as the sun crests overhead, but all of you, none of you can see any sort of reflection, which makes you kind of curious as to what these trees are actually made of.
So there's no reflections of us there, or there's no reflections at all?
There's no reflections at all of the other trees, of yourselves, of the landscape. But actually, I do need to do one thing. I need to turn a card. Ooh. Dangerous Elixir. Its color is indigo. It's weakened by gray. Power, transformation, risk, and consequences. Powerful magic comes in small, perhaps even innocuous forms. The Dangerous Elixir proves that to be true. It is powerful and transformative, but is it a boon or bane? Are the potion's effects harmful or helpful? It's all about the risk you're willing to take and the consequences you're willing to face. This card turn offers power, but at a risk. Power can backfire. The Dangerous Elixir promises transformation, and that can be literal or figurative. It might transform a situation, changing the outcome of events. But there's still always something, always that risk. Something's going to change. But will it be good or bad for the person in question? Should one turn the Alchemist and Dangerous Elixir consecutively? This is called the ultimate transformation, and it suggests total and complete upheaval of the situation, and possibly somebody involved in it. An extremely powerful vislae is involved in the events at hand. An NPC takes a terrible risk to get what they want. Someone or something is magically transformed. Current events clearly carry major consequences depending on their outcomes. A test of bravery in a single bottle. So, as you're kind of like making this estimation and looking around, Twig, you do actually notice something strange, which is that you are the only thing reflected in these trees' bark and their forms, but the reflection itself is very translucent and very vague and very faint. And the reflection that is reflected back is a little different from yours. Would you go ahead and make me a perception roll?
I'm going to put a sortilege into that.
Okay.
Is this something everyone else is seeing as well?
I would say so. All of you do notice this.
Well, my sortilege was ass, but that's... Sorry, let me scroll all the way back up. Nope. That's just ass. It's a 6.
Okay. The thing that you notice about this figure is their mode of dress is a little bit different. It looks very much like an actual vislae's clothing, like someone that would have not come from the gray. It's a very kind of like avant-garde kind of style. But the other thing you notice is their hair seems to be a natural color. It's not green or red as you look back at this form. What color is it?
Ooh. I think it's a strange kind of gunmetal gray.
Good. And yeah, you notice this, and otherwise, the reflection behaves exactly as a reflection would, following your movements, moving from side to side as you kind of like make eyes at this. All of you notice this right off the bat.
I think Maurice's eyes, after kind of clocking what this is, looks to Twigg to see how Twigg's reacting, and then looks to the Earth Scribe and how is it recording, and what does that look like?
You are gonna need to make me a perception roll.
Fine. Yeah, I'll spend.
The tension is unbearable.
I'll spend one. And 4 dice cocked. All that for a 1. Plus 1 Vene is 2.
You can't necessarily see how it has produced it, but in one of it, in kind of like this collar that's affixed to it, almost like a kind of a kerchief, you see just a sheet of paper, a sheet of parchment, in fact.
And it's just on the collar. Is it like writing on its own shoulder?
It's literally just like clipped to its shoulder. You didn't, but it seems to be filled with words.
Amazing.
Yeah. You don't see how it produced it, but it's there.
This is potentially a silly question, but I'm going to do it anyway. Can I touch the parchment using my Understands the Words ability? Level 1 understanding. I touch a creature or object and gain a bit of information about it. Level, common name, nature, age, and so on. I don't control what information I get, but I can use this ability multiple times to get more information if I choose.
Absolutely. You may make me a interaction roll as you approach the bear.
Amazing. Plus 1 to that from my interaction bene. That's a 10.
Okay, on a 10, the bear kind of regards you, and there's and as you touch the parchment, you just have a very clear kind of summation of what it is doing, of what it details, which is one member of this party has noticed a reflection itself in the forest of elegant measures. This is uncommon. They seem to be somewhat agog at its properties.
Kyrrie pulls out her own notebook. In fact, she is using the blank copy of that illuminated manuscript that Twigg ate as her new notebook/journal, and is going to write down that exact same thing. And I think she is also then going to pull out her gray artifact, her hand mirror. And I think she's going to try to use it to see if Twigg, the reflection that Twigg is seeing, is reflected in the hand mirror or not.
As you pull your hand mirror out and you face it to catch Twigg's reflection, it is the same reflection of the person that you see before you. It does not differ from their actual appearance.
Interesting. So the hand mirror reflects Twigg, but it does not reflect the reflection.
Yes, it does not reflect the reflection reflected in the trees. This is a big who's on first thing, but yeah.
No, I love that. That's great.
I put it in the Twitch chat, but mirrorception. That's just occurred.
Hans Zimmer, lay off.
See, and I feel like Kyrrie also gets very, she feels quite happy that she has something to note that the bear has not noted about her own gatherings and findings from her hand mirror.
And
you're competing with a bear.
Yeah,
Kyrrie, you're competing with a bear.
You see, as you're kind of like making these set of notes, as you look up, a second parchment has appeared clipped to the collar, or this kind of kerchief, and you just see as you kind of like move your finger over to touch it, what was it? the Vance accompanying us has made additional notes pertaining to this phenomena.
Kyrrie's eyes narrow. She nods.
Maurice has set down Duncan on the ground and I think walks up to the nearest tree trunk or whatever it is that's reflecting the strange alternate twig, and kind of slowly like looking back and forth, like inspecting it closer, and then gestures to Twig. Step a little bit closer. Let's get a closer look at whoever this is.
Do I have to?
No, I mean, not unless you want to come with us.
Twig steps closer to the tree, to the trunk, and flips off the trunk and just says, "Fuck off, ghost."
And you just see the reflection mirror your words exactly. Maurice, I'd like you to make a perception roll.
Sure, and I'm going to spend 3 this time.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a 0 plus
Okay.
3.
Okay. On a 3, I will tell you the thing that is most obvious to you is the reflection is very pale, and the cheeks are very sallow, and the eyes are a little bit darker. And now, don't get me wrong, even having recovered, Twig doesn't look great right now. They've withstood a lot in the past couple of days, but still, there's something about this, like the darkness under the eyes is like carved in, practically, and the sallowness of the cheeks are pronounced. The pale, it's night and day, the complexion between this figure and Twig.
Do they look the same age?
Yes.
So, and Maurice turns to regard Twig and says, well, this is certainly new.
Yeah, I hate it.
And like looks around. This reflection is kind of reproduced in all the rest of the trees that are around.
It is the only reflection being reproduced.
Do I even want... sorry. But a newspaper. Do I even want to know why I'm the only one with a creepy fake reflection?
You ask.
Probably has to do with whatever weirdness is going on with your little personalities, right?
Yeah, but then why isn't there a reflection of me?
I don't know.
Why is there only a reflection of sort of you? He turns to the guards and to the bear. Can any of you talk?
The eagles, the divine angels turn to you, and both of them let out a gigantic vuvuzela.
Great. Well,
Oh, okay.
I was going to suggest that we go through this quietly, but I see that's already out of the question.
It's a relatively quiet blom, but is no less disconcerting.
It's like, you know how like they have the muffles, the baffles for like trombones and trumpets.
Yeah,
it's like, whoa.
Exactly.
So after that dies down, Maurice says, well, I guess we'll have to find out the nature of this non-reflection some other time. Question for the DM. Do you recall that there was like kind of like a unwritten rule about the level of a weave based on like how many aggregates you have?
You may multiply the number of aggregates by 2, by 4, and then add +1 at maximum. So you, with 2, you can only cast a spell of level 9. If you get 3, it's up to 13.
Great. So Maurice says to Twig, this, are you going to be okay with this?
It's not exactly like I have an option, then is it?
I mean, you kind of do. And you see Maurice begin to kind of grab at these invisible threads in the air and says, only if you want to.
Oh yeah, no, fuck whatever is going on here. If you can stop that, thank you. I hate this.
And he begins weaving the aggregates of heart and wind. Heart, the relationship he has with Twigg, and wind, the invisibility, and makes Twigg invisible. Does this affect the reflection?
The reflection disappears.
That's almost more upsetting.
And Maurice puts his hand out and then finds Twigg's shoulder and says, "Now don't go running off."
That's not my shoulder.
Pretty hairy shoulder.
Kyrrie, do a potentially silly thing. Can Kyrrie touch the tree glass and try to get some sort of understanding from it, using again her forte ability?
You may certainly try. Tell me how
Why
you're
are we
doing that.
deliberately courting the devil?
Well, you know, the devil you know, I
'Cause
guess.
sometimes you want to date the devil. Leave this alone. Jersey devil.
While you're doing that, does a weave count as a spell for a card pool or no?
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay.
I will go ahead. Honestly, if I turn the alchemist, this is gonna be weird. Let me see. What did I turn? I turned the alchemist.
Nuh-uh.
Ooh, first time that's ever happened.
I actually. Oh yeah, hold on. I need to change this. Yeah, I turned the alchemist.
Get out. What? No. Stop.
I mean, it has to happen statistically, probably sometimes.
Complex.
So bad stuff happens, right?
Complexity,
Something
transformation,
intense happens.
and knowledge. The alchemist seeks transformation usually, and it's the adepts of Secrets, Ravens, Books, and Flame, which is whose?
Twigg.
All right, this episode needs to fucking cut it the fuck out.
The alchemist seeks transformation usually in the sense of advancement or enlightenment. She hopes to better herself through understanding. As a adept of the Secrets family, the alchemist is of course complicated. Her knowledge is deep and vast. Magical processes surround her. Chemicals and substances and the flame that catalyzes them all dance upon her fingertips. But her true raw materials are her own essence and her own soul. Makers often see this card as a good omen. The alchemist's complexity suggests that there's a far more to a situation than previously understood. Just as often, however, she indicates drastic and sudden change, a new opportunity, a new person involved, or a new facet to a problem. Should one turn the alchemist and Dangerous Elixir consecutively, this is called the ultimate transformation, and it suggests total and complete upheaval of the situation and possibly someone involved in it. A situation transforms, usually by becoming more complex. New NPCs get involved, new facts arise, new challenges or barriers present themselves. The PC gains knowledge or insight into a complex problem. An NPC ally has information or understanding that can be of great use. The PC fails at a vital task because they didn't understand it and its real complexities. The fumes of the alchemist's work offer her both bane and boon. So, I need to change the music. Ooh. Let's see what we got.
Well, this isn't menacing at all.
The results of the roll matter at all.
Kyrrie, as you've cast this spell,
Well, used a forte ability, but yes.
yeah, you've used your ability, and you realize that there's being a footnote being added to the original parchment that you touched as you kind of feel the words being scrawled, and immediately your heart is gripped. And you read it in your head. I'm going to send you this privately. Bear with me, guys.
What was the forte that she used?
Level 1 understanding. I touch a creature or object and gain a bit of information about it. Level, common name, nature, age, and so on. I don't control what information I get, but I can use this ability multiple times to get more information if I so choose.
Thank you.
Well, we pulled a secret card, we get secrets. Now, and books also. So now we're just have to wait for the ravens.
You have the note now.
Okay.
I will tell you this. Twig, a chill runs up your spine. There's something about this place that makes you very uncomfortable. And it has to do with the reflection that's just vanished.
So I think from invisibly, so a voice from nowhere just says, "We should go. I should go."
Wait. No, I told you not to do that. Don't run off.
Yeah, let's go.
Kyrrie's hand is stuck on the glass of the tree. She appears frozen.
I think you feel a tug on your shoulder, like just kind of a hand, an invisible hand on your shoulder. Just like, we need to go.
I mean, Gav, a little help?
I also agree that we should go.
No, I think Twig's talking about like leaving. Kyrrie?
No, we're not leaving. We
Kyrrie?
only have one shot at this.
Kyrrie?
Kyrrie turns around very slowly.
Maurice kind of stomps over there. Are you okay? He begins looking around.
Where's Twig?
Twig's still here, I hope. Twig, say something.
Yep, right here. Just invisible. I could get used to this.
Oh. Okay. Oh.
What's going on?
Your hand. You haven't moved your hand. And he goes to gently put his hand around her wrist.
I think Kyrrie's hand sort of moves from the mirrored, well, not really mirrored, but the glass surface, kind of like a kind of desuctioning almost. And she kind of snaps back to herself. I don't know what these things are, but we should probably keep moving.
Okay, so just so we're all on the same page, where are we moving to? Because I think Twig's trying to leave.
Right.
No.
I would say that
Get in there.
while some of this was happening, Gab was trying to find a trail.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a perception roll.
Awesome. And I will
Maurice,
put
like from
Bene into that.
uncomfortably close to you, you hear, we need to get in, do, the murder and rescue Secretariat's boyfriend and then get out.
5.
Okay.
Thank you.
Absolutely. On a 5, I will tell you this. Gavriel, you're a very talented tracker. You have, you've hunted a great deal of prey in the gray, as it were. So it's not so much that it is impossible to find, or it just takes you a long time to find your quarry. And it takes you deeper into the forest.
This way.
Yeah. You spot a couple of tracks that are unmistakably those of human beings. Everybody moving with.
As far as you know.
Yeah, so at this point, it takes some time, and I think the angelic protectors are kind of like moving in lockstep. The Urscribe is kind of like moving forward. The Urscribe is sniffing the air, and by this point, like there's a couple of more bits of parchment that have kind of like populated on this kerchief that is attached around its neck. But after some time, Gavriel, you spot inside a little pocket, a little grove of the woods, a small valise, a black, long valise with a clasping handle.
Well, this could be it.
All the way, by the way, the rest of you have no idea what she's talking about. You cannot see what she sees.
I think Maurice says, yeah, this place as much as any place. This all looks exactly the same.
By the way, for a valise is essentially a kind of the French word for a suitcase for our audience at home.
So all the tracks just lead up to a suitcase.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, no one else sees this? How do I do? I'm gonna take it.
All right.
Because I don't think Gav knows that there'd be no way to measure that you can't see it right now.
Yeah. So as you touch it, you just feel it rooted to the spot. I need you to make me a withstand roll.
Sure.
Your target's going to be 8. And
Whoa.
I need 2 successes.
Okay, well then pop a sortilege into that so I can have 2 dice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. I got an 8 and a 9.
An 8 and a 9. You feel as you feel an effect attempt to do something to you magically, but it quickly passes. I think once again you see that halo spin in your chest and flare, and whatever effect it attempted falls flat. And as you kind of let go of the Valis clasp in surprise, it pops open, and the 2 halves of the briefcase fall open, and on one half of them you see a stairwell leading down into the ground.
Why couldn't it have just been a regular camp?
Do the rest of us see this now or not?
I will say that whatever you just were able to resist, Gavriel, the rest of you see almost like kind of developing into reality, like a daguerreotype, or it just kind of manifests. You see this valise, this suitcase that has been opened, that lead down a stairwell into very dimly lit, what appears to be a dimly lit kind of almost like cellar.
Would Kyrrie do like a magical lore check on what kind of spell that might be?
The one that was trying to affect Gavriel, or the one that describe which one?
Effectively, like the one, now that she sees this thing in a place that it wasn't before, she assumes that there was some sort of disguising mechanism or magic, and she wants to know more about that.
Absolutely. Go ahead and roll me magical lore.
I've got +1 to that. That's a 6 + 1, 7.
Okay. On a 7, you realize exactly what that was, which is that was gray illusion magic. But at the same time, the insight that you have is you realize that Gavriel was able to see this probably because of the seed of truth that's in her chest. Basically, whatever kind of gray magic was manifest was no match for this indigo power.
I think you see Kyrrie wince a little at this revelation, but she keeps quiet.
Okay.
Shall we?
Twig, you're coming?
Twig with a foot already in the suitcase, in the valet. Valets.
Phallus. It's all good.
Phallus.
Elise. Yes.
Is there a fifth way to say that?
I don't know, but are you stepping in or what?
Velis.
Mm-hmm.
In the veals. I'm deep in the veals, boys. No, Twig literally says, like, aren't you coming?
I really regret doing this for you.
I'm actually starting to enjoy this.
Maurice
Twig says that out loud.
Maurice turns back and makes meaningful eye contact with Kyrrie. He's I think she can tell he's a little concerned about what happened earlier.
You can see Kyrrie still looks a little bit shaken, but she has definitely put up like a front of composure. Like, we have a mission. We must focus on this and get it done.
I think for whatever it's worth, the fact that she has enough strength to pretend that she's okay means she's good enough for now.
Okay. Gavriel, are you following suit?
I think Gavriel's leading the way.
Awesome. Okay. So
Twig is like, Gav's going first. Twig's right behind Gav. I think Maurice was like, are you coming? And Twig's like, duh.
Catch up, Grandpa. Is the bear and the angels, are they too large for this staircase?
This was a very large suitcase, a very large valise.
There's a bear-sized valise.
Well, I will tell you this, like, are you ordering them to stay behind, or are they coming with you?
We had the option.
What is this? A school for bears?
I mean, the more the merrier.
Okay. So, you see that the Urscribe has a great deal of difficulty, but manages to go down. And these large angelic protectors, they follow suit. They have a little bit of struggle kind of like bending down, but honestly, once you kind of traverse that, it's almost like a low doorway. This extra dimensional liminal space, whatever it is. And the thing that it immediately makes you think of, Maurice, is Kieran von Mielis's own like portable workshop. As you step down into it, you find all of yourselves in the equivalent of a dimly lit root cellar, essentially just very large enough to accommodate a small group of people. Its ceilings are a little low at about 9 or 10 feet. But at the same time, all of you find yourselves fitting in comfortably. There are a number of accoutrements and furnishings within this space. There are, in fact, everybody give me a perception roll real quick.
Oh, that's another 9, baby.
Awesome.
3.
This is the good dice today.
2.
Yeah. Okay. So I think all of you are a little bit taken aback, with the exception of like, Gavriel, you have a laser focus on this. You want this more than anything else. You want to like just unwrap this conspiracy. You want to make these people pay. You are so sharp on this. You take in the full scene, which all around you, you see basically kind of like a number of implements spread out on a large oaken table within this kind of like cellar area. In another pile, you see what looks to be some parchment and some paper that has been burned, some of it irreparably so, and basically kind of just obscuring whatever information they may have had. However, there are like little pieces that remain kind of unburnt. At the same time, however, your attention is immediately drawn by the weak voice of a kind of a small figure, winged, but you realize, in much the same way that Maurice was temporarily before the angels assisted, has been fused to the earthen floor of this place. And a weak voice just cries out, "Are you here to help? Is anybody there? My name is Gallia Menedis. Please." And it's on this note that we're going to end tonight's session.
Got him.
All right. Guys, thank you so much for joining us for this, our 10th episode of the second part of The Hole in the World. As usual, we're going to go ahead and quickly do our character recaps, starting with Gavriel. Joy, despair, character arcs.
Oh, easy Joy. Pretty solid for her. Gets to go on what she thought was going to be a routine reconnaissance, possible assassination mission. And now there are malicious glass trees and a dungeon in a suitcase. Why? She needs to stop being surprised by that.
Yeah.
I think we started a little bit with the character arc, but and that had to do with getting Pathwalker spells. Because her character arc specifically, I should stop putting it all the way at the bottom of my character sheet because that would make it easier for me, which is develop a bond with my flavoring of become closer to the following: Shia, Mott, Majuin, and the Erebast in general. So I think that it doesn't conclude any of it by any means, but we're getting there.
Awesome. Yeah. So go ahead. I will say this: take one acumen as that step begins. Like and I'm going to call this step learn more about the Pathwalkers.
Awesome.
Yeah. So take that and take a joy, and take 2 acumen for successfully managing to resist whatever magical effect was on the trap of this.
So I'm
yeah.
I'm getting 3 acumen.
Yeah, that's how this works.
Oh, Boise. Okay.
Great. Maurice, joy, despair, character arcs.
No character arcs. Definitely a joy. Keeping the gang all together. Able to just keep an eye on everybody, make sure they're okay. So even though it ended a little unsettling, I think that's overall joy.
Awesome. So mark 1 joy, and I'll say take 2 acumen for helping Twigg to vanish their reflection and to successfully mitigate the some of the interpersonal issues that was vexing your team there during the first half. Okay. Moving around. Twigg, joy, despair, character arcs.
I really do not know, dog. Like, what a emotionally questionable episode. I'm gonna say joy, just based on the fact that Twigg feels like they're not sure if they apologize. They're not sure if that, but that was the first interaction in a while where Gav didn't implicate that they wanted, or that she wanted to kill them. So that's a win.
Yeah, we can call it that.
Character arcs, I don't think there's a significant amount of information that has been gained since then. Some action was taken to get further information on the future, but I do not think that has really come to fruition. And the other character arc of making a new home for myself. Also, I have done absolute shit on.
Okay.
So that is a big fat goose egg on the character arcs, and maybe my acquaintance doesn't want to murder me anymore.
Hey, I will say that. Yeah, take 2 acumen for awkward. Plus whatever information you were able to glean from Queen Frageliva. And then what I will say is make sure to take joy. Finally, Kyrrie, joy, despair character arcs.
I think Kyrrie is going to take a despair because she asked the glass tree a question and she got an answer.
Yep, absolutely.
That's where I'm going to leave that. Character arcs, I'm on the fence because Kyrrie has a character arc called New Discovery. And this was not necessarily the discovery she expected, but it's a discovery she got. So I might progress that and just say this is a new discovery Kyrrie is working with.
I will tell you this: take 1 acumen for the discovery. Take I think 2 acumen for being vigilant enough to catch that. So that's our character summaries for this episode. And now we're gonna go back and around and do our shout outs and plugs. Marcy, shout outs and plugs.
Hey. Well, I'm going to do my usual stuff about this here channel. If you've been really enjoying watching our show here, I encourage you to, tune into any of our other shows that we've got scheduled on this channel. If you're not completely sick of myself, Hopper, Zach, and Marissa, well, then I have great news because starting in April, we will be doing a fun Bridgerton-themed Good Society flight every Tuesday. Do join. It will be a lot of fun. Marissa will be running it. So, just complete tonal whiplash from this. It couldn't be any further. Then in May, we're going to be doing a Star Wars themed flight, and in June, a BioShock one. So lots of stuff coming up there. And if you're ever interested in maybe wanting to play in one of our games, you should check out our Discord. If you want to catch up on any of the other shows that we've got going on, you should also check out our YouTube channel. Watch some games with us and play some games with us.
Awesome. Bill, shout outs, plugs.
Let's see. I'd like to shout out friend of the show, Jeff Stormer. Check out Party of One podcast. Check out All My Fantasy Children. And I'm very happy to share Jeff's latest project, which is hosting Yazeba's Bed and Breakfast, which is a new TTRPG being released. I think now. I think it already started, so it's being fundraising on Indiegogo, and Jeff hosted some actual plays with the likes of Matthew Mercer and Brendan Lee Mulligan and more. The Matthew Mercer episode came out, I think, on Friday. I listened to it. It's a delight. So check that out. Yazeba, Yazeba, Bed and Breakfast by Possum Creek Games. Find that on YouTube. Find that where you listen to podcasts, and find the fundraiser and donate to that. Jeff Stormer, friend of the show. Love the guy.
Awesome. Hopper, shout outs and plugs.
Most of mine already got taken. But I will shout out Jeff Stormer's other fucking podcast, All My Fantasy Children, with Eric Catano Saez. It's really good. And also, if you are in the mood for something non-TTRPG related, and you wanted to watch a bunch of dorks play Gloomhaven, the digital version, relatively late tomorrow night, I believe myself, the great Zachary, and Bill will be probably dying horribly, but in a very funny ways. So come watch us do a character-driven playthrough of Gloomhaven. It's so hard, y'all. It's so fucking hard. With also featuring Ned Donovan of Encounter Party. Did somebody do? I am in a food coma and I spaced out for like a bridging point. I think Bridgerton got mentioned and my brain was like, "Oh, food."
Because that's
Did
the
we mention
natural
Encounter
thing.
Party yet?
Yeah, nobody's in. I don't think.
Not mentioned.
Oh, rad. If you want to watch that Gloomhaven thing, check it out on The Legend Tree on Twitch. That is, or you can follow The Legend Tree on most social media, and I'll post some bullshit on there, especially on Twitter, because that's the one I'm really good about. But The other person in this shindig is Ned Donovan, who is on Encounter Party, which is a really fantastic edited actual play D&D podcast. It's won several awards. It's quite good. It's unreasonably good, in fact, and you should check it out. And as they get ramped up for a new season.
Awesome.
All right, that's me, BK Dubrem.
Marissa, shout outs and plugs.
Yeah, so just to echo what has already been said, I am indeed running a Bridgerton-themed Good Society flight on Flights of Fandom starting on Tuesday, April 5th. That will feature Zach and Hopper and Marcy, along with actually a newbie to the Flights of Fandom channel, as well as one other familiar face who you will see if you tune in. Please join us for some secrets, scandal, and sensibility as we play Good Society. It should be a grand old time, as Good Society usually is, but then again, I am biased. And the other thing I will plug is if you like Lovecraft and Melville and perhaps the two combined, check out my Alas from the Awful Sea game. It is posted to YouTube on Catherine Rahman's channel. I will leave a link in the chat. It is basically about what happens in a Massachusetts town in 1851, where you go off on a whaling voyage and may not come back, may encounter a Lovecraftian whale creature, who knows? Tune in, find out. It's generally a great time. So yeah, that'll be my plugs.
Awesome. So for my own part, I got a bunch of news and plugs. So first off, big plug and shout out to the team at Angel Citadel Gaming. Joanne and Josh are awesome people. I know they're doing probably their fireside chat right now. My battery died for my phone, so I have no way of getting the notification. So check it out just in case that I am right. They do awesome stuff over there, and we consider them friends of the show. And not only that, wanted to also kind of throw a shout out to a couple of really cool causes. One of which is the TTRPGs for trans rights in Texas. The bundle is on host at itch.io. They have raised $383,000 out of a goal of $420,000. For $5, you can get 493 items, or games rather. This has stuff by John Harper. It's got I'm just looking at the screen now. It's got stuff by Jordan Palmer. I think even Jeff Stormer's in there. There is some really great seminal indie works on here that everybody would really benefit from having access to. It's really cool that they're doing this, and it's even like more cool that they're being so successful and they're bringing so much awareness to the issue. So show your support for trans rights. Go ahead and pick up the bundle and check it out and really enjoy that stuff. Second cause is, of course, Ukraine. As you guys have probably seen from the timer, there's a lot of charity and relief organizations that are trying to administer aid to Ukraine during their war with Russia. So basically, once again, just to let you guys know, there are a ton of charities that are really picking up a lot of slack. And if you donate a minimum of $20, we're still working on this Forte, but we will send you a custom Invisible Sun Forte with every showing of your receipt for your charitable donation. So look forward to that. We're going to keep fleshing it out. And once it's ready, we'll go ahead and start advertising it again in our Discord, on Twitter, wherever you can learn more about the show. Finally, a bit of news. So this has been a long time coming. We are currently working on the podcast version of The Hole in the World. We have actually, I am not at liberty to say necessarily who we've recruited, but we're working with some folks from Encounter Party to engineer the audio and to put together a run of anywhere from 12 to 24 episodes to see if you guys would like to maybe get some more of that in a format that's good for your ears. So look for that. We're hopefully going to have some more announcements coming soonish as we work with our audio engineer. It's going to be pretty great. I'm really excited, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy it.
Just to be clear, we're not promoting that as a supplement for your ear health.
Yeah.
This is in fact just enjoyable for your brain.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for the clarification. So guys, there's a lot going on in the world right now that's really rough. So, be what you can, be a beacon for somebody else. Just as always, and also special shout out for my own part to Seth and to Merfeather, who we were able to give a little bit of joy to this week, hopefully. So that's something that I think they'll get if they will watch and check out the rerun. But anyhow, guys, from the bottom of my heart, please, and the bottom of our hearts, I should say, make sure that you're taking care of each other. Make sure you're taking care of the people that need it. And most importantly, may the invisible sun shine on you all. Have a great night.
Night.